The video boys went to the local Total Wine and picked out 6 beers that were sourced from Germany. I can't see what they are, and just for fun, we mixed it up a little bit this time and we poured them into the clear glasses so that both you and I can get an idea of color and appearance. Once again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you get subscribed. We got a ton of historical content and we have a ton of great content planned for the future. I'm going to taste through them one at a time, give my thoughts, impressions, pick a favorite, and if I'm feeling good, rank them 1 through 6. Let's dive in. Sample number 1. Appearance-wise, probably the darkest of the 6. This guy's maybe a little more orange, but because it has a little bit of translucency, which refracts the light, it makes it look more yellow than brown, like this guy. Nice noble hop character on the nose. A little bit of sweet bready malt, a little bit of that classic, I think, lager yeast character. That's nice. A little bit of like fresh green apple, a little bit of hay, straw, earthy noble hops, crisp, dry, not overly effervescent, but that's a nice beer, nice sample. The foam on this beer looks really nice. The texture is really nice. The mouthfeel is pleasant. And that's a great start to the German beer tasting. Moving into sample number 2. This guy looks like it's a little bit leaner. You know, sometimes you can tell, you see some clinginess on the side of the glass and the way the beer looks, you can tell how heavy it is before you drink it. This beer looks very, very light. Nice aroma, a little bit of banana on the nose. Again, noble hop character, crisp, zippy. That's nice. Finishes with a little more bitter hop, a little bit of like citrus and resin pine on the finish, but it's very subtle. Really nice texture and mouthfeel in that beer, sample number 2. Moving on to the 3rd sample. Ooh, I want to comment that lingering on my palate there, a little bit of caramel, a little bit of like Maillard reaction, sweetness on the finish of this sample. Really, really nice. Sample number 3. Ooh. Whoa. Strong noble hop character, strong citrus, strong pine, earthiness, really quite bitter. A little bit skunky, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Loving, loving, loving sample number 3. I just want to be clear. I don't know. I don't have a clue what these are. How many beers do we import from Germany? Tens, thousands, who knows? Moving on to sample number 4. Obviously the redheaded stepchild of the bunch, literally. Almost appears red from where I'm looking at it, maybe bright orange. Not clear at all. Got some translucency. It even appears to have like, it almost looks like it has something in solution. Weird. That tastes like it's trying to be something malty. I'm getting a weird citrus note off of it. I'm getting a very, 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 very strong oxidative note, wet cardboard, wet dog. I know those are unpleasant descriptors, but I think somewhere along the line, this beer was mistreated. Like it wants to be an Oktoberfest, like it wants to be a malt forward German style beer, but yeah, it's just not hitting the mark for me. No hop. It's got that like freeze pop character, smells like it's been in the freezer for too long, if that makes sense. You ever smell an ice cube that's been in the freezer for too long? It has a smell about it. That's what this kind of smells like, and I'm just not digging on it. All right, moving on to sample number 5. Another crisp, light appearing beer. Mild on the nose. Getting a little bit of that green apple. Straw-like malt. Very unassuming. Not overly sweet, not overly dry, really mild hop character. This is kind of the most plain Jane of the bunch that I've had so far, and it doesn't really stand out in any meaningful way, but it drinks really pleasantly. Moving on to the final sample. Huh. I mean, it'd be really interesting to discuss alcohol content at the end. This one tastes to me like it's the lightest of the bunch. Not a ton of flavor, super, 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 super dry. Tiny, tiny bit of hop character, but really, really crisp, high effervescence, and easy to drink. I like this quite a bit. The hop character in this sample number 6 comes across to me as a little bit lemony, piney, citrusy, lemony, really kind of bright and even a little bit acidic. Whereas some of these other ones have that classic earthy noble hop character, this one stands out as being a little bit brighter. All right, so as I so often do, guys, I'm going to go through these one more time. If you are new here to the channel and you've enjoyed this video so far, do us a favor and check out our archive. We've done literally dozens of these videos at this point, and we've dove into a lot of different beer styles sourced from all around the world. So if you enjoy this type of content, we have plenty of it in the archive, and we have a ton of it planned for the future, in addition to many other things. Before I choose a favorite and try to rank these beers, I'm going to taste through them one final time. A little bit of malt character, good hop. Samples 2 and 4 kind of strike me, 2 and 5 hit me very similarly. This one is a lot richer and fuller, whereas sample number 5 is a little bit flatter and a little bit more muted than sample number 2. Number 3, I really enjoyed the first time around. And I really enjoy it the second time around. Sample number 4, I feel like you guys might be trolling me. I'm not really sure what is happening. It bears little resemblance to the other beers in the panel. Do you know, when you picked this up, was it warm or cold? It was warm? Yeah, it tastes like it. It tastes like it's been on the shelf for a very long time. I don't like it, whatever it is. Moving on to sample number 5, which I don't need to dive back into. I remember exactly how it tastes. And then number 6 struck me as the most light and easy drinking. In terms of how I would rank these, here we go. My favorite sample of the entire panel is number 3. Really dry, bright, hoppy, crisp, fresh tasting, effervescent, really smooth and enjoyable. I almost feel like maybe we've tasted this on the channel before, but it hit my palate beautifully, and I really, really enjoyed sample number 3. My next favorite, I think, is sample number 2. Really well-rounded, bright, a little bit of a banana ester happening on the flavor profile, rich, full. I think what struck me on the first go-around was that the mouthfeel and the texture were really pleasant and full on the palate, and I just really like the all-around aesthetic of sample number 2. If you're fans of the channel, you know that I do gravitate towards sometimes the lighter and the drier, easier drinking beers. So to that end, sample number 6, I want to pick as my third favorite of the tasting panel. Dry, really easy to drink, really pleasant all around. I quite liked it. Sample number 1, I'm going to choose as my number 4. Kind of unassuming, good malt character, not a lot of hop, nice mouthfeel, but it didn't really stand out to me. And, you know, if I'm grabbing a beer on a hot afternoon, that amount of heft is probably not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to rank sample number 1 as my number 4. Sample number 5 had similarities to number 2, but it was just flabbier all around. I didn't like the way that it hit my palate. You know, I feel like as it warmed up, it would become difficult to drink. So sample number 5 actually is my number 5. And then I'm going to rank sample number 4 as my least favorite. What are we drinking? Sample number 1, Colbitzer Heide-Brauerei. I don't know it. Wow, best by August of 25. Just for reference, we're in July of 24 right now. That's an aggressive best by date. I'm assuming they put 18 months on it. Was this one hot or cold? It was warm? Yeah. I mean, it tasted fine. It didn't taste oxidized, and it tasted fine. Again, it didn't have that crispness that I was looking for in the beer, but I enjoyed it. Okay, Colbitzer, sample 1. Früh Kolsch. Okay. Yeah, I didn't pick that up. Really, this was really nice. Did I pick this as my number 2? Number 2 is my number 2. Yeah, this was awesome. I quite enjoyed sample number 2. That was Früh Kolsch. Oh, yes. Muy bueno. Bitburger. Wow, you know what? It could have been the lack of hoppiness in the other samples, or the fact that this batch was just bang on. But the hop character was super, super bright in this batch. Absolutely loving. I would have picked this tier S plus if I had to. This was super, super awesome in this tasting. Bitburger, congrats. It's distributed all the way here to the United States and tasting phenomenal. Weltenburger. It's a Marzen. Okay. A Marzen. Wow. Weird. I mean, a Marzen's an Oktoberfest. Oldest monastery brewery of the world, Weltenburger Kloster. The can does not give us any information in terms of how old this is. It, yeah, the fact that this didn't have fruit in it is weird. Walt, water, malted barley, hops. I apologize if this is a favorite of anybody, but I would love to try this beer fresh. The example that we got was exhibiting some serious oxidative flaw and made it really hard to decide what was going on in this beer. Sample number 5. Oh, the Weinstephaner Helles. Yeah. I mean, it was fine. It just hit me as unassuming. Weinstephaner, obviously iconic, legendary brewery. You can't go wrong. It struck me as the most neutral, plain Jane, and unassuming of the bunch. It didn't really stand out in any meaningful way. With that said, I quite enjoyed it, and I would not hesitate to crack one on a hot, sunny day. Final sample. Paulaner. This was awesome in the sample. I had it, somewhere between my number 2 and my number 3 when we were picking favorites. 4.9% alcohol, so it's actually not the lightest in the bunch, but it most certainly drank like it. Again, sometimes when you look at a beer, you can tell how hefty it's going to be based on how much cling the foam has. And this foam actually is really wispy and thin and beautiful. And sometimes that will impress the palate that you're about to get something crushable, dry, and delicious. All right, guys. So obviously beer and brewing is my life, but I'll be the first person to admit that I don't know everything. So hopefully these samplings are educational and fun for you as they are educational and fun for me. That's all for today, guys. Live well and drink good beer. We'll see you next time.